Hey ladies, Angel Hicks here, and you are in our literary circle where this week we are talking about Personality Isn't Permanent by Dr. Hardy. And in this book, he talks about how we can break free from our self-limiting beliefs and rewrite our story, whatever we want that to be in the future. He says personality isn't permanent, and it shatters our long-held beliefs that you're stuck as yourself, flaws and all, by identifying why the person you are is changeable and giving you specific and actionable steps to change. So he really comes after personality tests in this book, which, if you know me, personality tests are my favorite thing, but they were really never meant to put us into a box. So that's really what he's talking. He's really challenging us to not put ourselves in a box and realize that we really can change our personality to be whomever we want to be in the future. So the three lessons we're going to talk about today is one, there are 5 destructive myths about personality that lead to mediocrity and support the fixed mindset that holds us back. Number 2 is your goals determine your personality and are the tool you need to change your identity. And number 3, no matter who you've been in the past or who you are right now, you can upgrade how you see yourself and transform your future. So let's get into it. Lesson number 1, your fixed mindset can hold you back and make your life mediocre because of the 5 destructive myths of personality tests. And these are, one, you can categorize personality into types. There are a lot of us that have taken these tests and we're like, well, I'm kind of all of these things, right? So yes, sometimes we have more of a dominant trait or a subdominant trait, but he talks about really not putting ourselves into this box that this personality trait is trying to put us in and realizing that we are always evolving. Number 2, your personality is ingrained and unchangeable. Well, we know that's not true because if you think back of who you were in your 20s, I guarantee she is not the same woman that you're looking at today. If you're in your 20s, when you're in your 40s, like I am, you will not even recognize that woman is not going to be the same person you are today. So we know that one's not true. Number 3, what happened to you in the past determines your personality. And yes, there are some traumas and things that happened to us in the past, but we all know we can work through those things and those things do not define us. Number 4, you have to discover your personality. You can just be your personality, right? You can just be who you are. We always want to dig deeper and do self-discovery, but you really don't have to discover your personality. You just are you. And number 5, your personality test results describe who you really are. And again, that's not really true because we're multifaceted and we have a lot of different characteristics that make us something. We really do not want to put ourselves into that box. So he says you think your personality is permanent because of past traumas, the identity you think you have, the identity people are telling you that you have, right? Your subconscious, your environment, our perception of historical events changes over time too. So the things that were super traumatic in our, earlier years might just be, okay, I understand why my parents did it that way, right? Because it's almost always our parents. But anyway, so why, we can totally change the same way we think about the past. We can totally change the way we think about ourselves. Lesson number 2, you can change your identity and personality through setting goals. So he says every action you perform has a purpose, right? And those purposes are going to go towards your goals. And whether you consciously think of them or not, your goals determine your identity. So he says goals drive every decision you make. So to find out, the aims you want to have and where you want to go, there's 3 sources. One is going to be exposure to those things, right? Those people or events or activities, desire to change, and the confidence to know that you can. So if you think about this in goal setting, you think about where you want to be in your business. Well, right now, as who I am right now, this is the capacity of what I can do, right? I can easily bring in this many for me personally, this many members or renewals or whatever my thing is, or how many new meetings I can bring up, just me as I am right now. But if I want to double that, What does she have to do? What do I have to do and change to double those things to reach my goals? My personality is going to have to change, right? I'm going to have to be okay calling on the phone, which I'm okay now. But I'm going to have to do those things, getting on social media. I do not like being on social media. Well, if I'm going to double what I'm bringing in, those are things that I'm going to have to change about my personality to be able to reach those goals. So you can use your goals to change you into who you want to be. He says, open your eyes to the possibilities all around you. We are in a law of abundance, right? So get more experience to see what the world has to offer and he says this, so you can't make decisions and choices if you don't know they exist, which is totally true. So get out of your little box, head out there, see some different experiences, figure out who you want to be, and make goals to work towards that. And lesson number 3, you can improve the way you view your personality and change your future, regardless of where you were in your past. Every day is a fresh start, a new day where we can now change our trajectory, right? Change our future. So connecting with your future self isn't always easy. I just did this exercise with my coach, but considering whether or not you want to keep your current reality for the next decade, right? It makes things a lot more clear. Do I really want to be here in 10 years from now, right? Probably not. We're all growing, we're all evolving, we're all moving. So carefully analyze the future you don't realize that you've consigned yourself to, okay, that you don't want to be. You write down your own biography as if you've already lived your whole life. So just free write, he says, and just ask these couple questions like, what are major events in your life that happened? I was in foster care for a couple of twice when I was prior to 10 years old. I got married at 16. What are some of those major life events that happened to you? How do people remember your life? How do you think other people perceive and remember your life? And what are your accomplishments in that life? Right? Write down this thing as if it's your biography. Then imagine what your future self looks like 3 years from now. And then journal about that. Just ask yourself, what is a typical day like? How do I feel in that time? Right? What is your work life like? And what is your personal life like? And then how are you different than you are now? And then the last step is to just simply start telling your story. This is my new story. This is who I am, because your brain doesn't know the difference between what is actually reality and what you're telling it. So we tell our brain that this is my new life. This is who I am. We start telling our story as if it's already happened. And not only are we training our brain that is where we're going, but we're also putting it out there to the universe, to God, and we are going to co-create this new person that is coming, a newer, better version of ourselves. So in this book, the main points are your personality is merely a byproduct of or a reflection of where you are emotionally. So if you maintain those suppressed emotions, you develop kind of a personality to either cope with it or avoid it, but all of that can be changed, and we have the power to do it. So you can learn to change your mindset about your personality and who you want to be. You can learn to use goals to become a better version of yourself, and learn the exact steps to take to move yourself towards your future you and what that looks like for you. So as always, I always suggest that you kind of journal about these breakout questions. We've done them in our groups, but what is your favorite personality test and what does it say about you? Do you feel like it's correct? Is there anything you don't feel that's correct? Number 2, what does your future self look like? What does she do? How does she feel? Where's she at? How does she, is there a difference between her and who you are now? And then if there is one thing about your personality you would like to change, what would that be? What would that be if that was one thing? And the main thing in our group was confidence. But what would that be? And how can you maybe take some more action in changing that personality type for you? So I hope you enjoyed this book, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.